Hey, hey, hey. Greetings, everybody. Hope alla har det gott. Hope everybody's having a good day. I know I've been really inconsistent with these videos. I keep meaning to be more on top of it and put more videos out there, and seems to be a few of you anyway that kind of dig them. And I like making them. I am back in Colorado on my way to a job out in the Pueblo area that I've been working on for the last couple weeks. And I like stopping along these rivers and trails and just kind of hanging out for a little bit. Actually, I'm gonna walk down to the river, so I need to turn this off. I will be right back. Okay, it was a really good thing I turned that off, because I about fell and biffed it on my ass there. I don't know if you can even tell. You can't. It's pretty steep right there, and a lot of loose rocks. And I thought piece of cake, and I almost biffed it. So that probably wouldn't have been so good on camera. I wanted to talk a little bit today about what's a Norwegian. I'm part of a few groups on Facebook, although I'm there less and less these days. There's too much bitterness, too much strife, and I'm really not into it. I try to stay positive with stuff in my life. Don't always succeed, but for the most part, I think I do. Those of you that follow me, I think will agree that I try to keep things kind of light and fun and interesting. But I've noticed this trend. You know, I consider myself 100% Norwegian. Even though I did a 23andMe, my family goes back hundreds and hundreds of years in Norway. But just like any country, there's people moving and migrating and coming back and forth. And my dad has actually done our genealogy back to the 1100s, I want to say, on a couple of lines, which is quite impressive. Shout out, Dad. Oh, that's not good. That's covering the video. I should have brought my selfie stick, but I wasn't very prepared. This was kind of last minute. Anyway, we go back a long way, and even with our family, I think my DNA was 89% Norway, almost exclusively Western Norway, with a little bit of Scottish and Danish, and maybe just a touch of German, something like that, which I think is pretty common. I see people on these sites saying, oh, my DNA is 100%. And all right, I don't believe you, but good for you. That's freaking awesome, for whatever it's worth. Obviously, your family history doesn't make you, you make you. I hope this river doesn't drown me out. I've been by this river for another video, about a year ago, actually. But yeah, so that doesn't make you as a person, obviously. You are a product of your environment, your DNA, the town you grew up in. There's a whole bunch of stuff that goes into making a person who he is. But what I wanted to talk about, and this is going to cause some controversy, so be it. I'll welcome all your comments, negative or positive. But I've noticed a thing, mostly on, I love my Norwegian heritage because it's the one I'm the most part of, I guess, most active on. Although I have cut back, there's just too much crap. But I've noticed that there's this thing going around where if you're living in America, then you're just not really Norwegian. You're Norwegian American, whatever that is. I'm born in Norway. We moved here when I was almost 5. I moved to Canada when I was almost 5. And then I actually went back in the 80s and lived in all over Norway for about a year and a half. And I've talked about that in past videos. If you want to go back and look at that, you're welcome to. I speak the language fairly fluently, although if you wanted to get in a conversation about rocket science, I'd probably be pretty lacking in that department. So I'd have to stick to pretty much everyday things, and then even then sometimes I can't quite find a word, and it's not perfect by any means, but I feel like I know the language relatively well. So, you know, obviously I'm Norwegian, and if you tell me I'm not, well, I won't say the words I would tell you. But they'd be R-rated, because Norway is a huge part of my identity, for better or worse, I guess. Some of you might think that's stupid. Some of you might think that's pretty cool. We moved to Canada when I was a kid. That's where I graduated high school. In fact, I'm heading up for my reunion here in just over a week, up in a little tiny town we moved to, Tabor, Alberta. 42 years. We were supposed to do a 40th reunion, but you know, all the COVID shit and all that crap kind of prevented us from... sorry, I gotta look down here so I don't step in between rocks. Kind of prevented us. So, and I frankly don't know how many are gonna show up, but it should be fun catching up with people I haven't seen in over 4 decades. So yeah, we moved there, and I've been in the States pretty much non-stop since the mid-80s. I'm not sure if I'm still a Norwegian citizen, because when I was in Norway in the 80s, I actually got, we'll call it, drafted into the Norwegian army, because was a citizen. I don't know if I am anymore. And I was supposed to report to Hallstad, which is way up north, at the beginning of September 1984, I guess it would have been. And I kind of wish I'd have done that. I didn't. My flight home was at the end of August, just a few days before that. And I never ended up serving in the Norwegian military. And like I said, I've got some regrets about that. I kind of wish I would have. Some really cool flowers here. Squirrel. Love Colorado, Utah. Where I live is Utah. Just really pretty country. And I love this kind of thing. Yeah, so I didn't serve, but they called me when I was back in Canada. Someone from the Norwegian military called and said they could take my citizenship if I didn't come back. And having just lived there for a year and a half, and I was back in college, and I guess some of you might judge me harshly for that, but there's a big part of me that wishes I would have done that, but I did. Anyway, my point is, I'm Norwegian, damn near 100%. But I've noticed this trend, and it seems to mostly be among younger Norwegians that live in Norway, where they judge us that live here, Canada, US, wherever, overseas, as not being Norwegian. In fact, you could move to Norway from another country, Europe, Africa, Middle East, or whatever, and if you're living in Norway, even though you're not Norwegian, they would consider you more Norwegian than, say, me. And I guess if you're living in Norway, no matter where you came from, I guess there is a part of that that's true. You're Norwegian in the fact that you live in Norway. But people actually get... I just hit puberty, apparently, because my voice went way up. People get kind of offensive about this, and I know there have been people that have been kicked out of this particular group because they get a little too aggressive and too demeaning. For the most part, I ignore them. You know, I've had quite a few posts on I love my Norwegian heritage, and I'd say 95% of the comments are positive and uplifting, and people seem to dig it. I think most people are looking for positivity in their day and not negativity and crap. But there's always a couple that have a snide remark about something. It could be something very benign, and they're still going to come up with a snide remark. So, and I tell people on that site or wherever I am, that, hey, if you feel like you're a Norwegian or a Dane or a Swede or Russian or Korean or whatever, that's what you are. And I don't like other people pushing their points of view onto other people. If you want to feel a certain way about yourself, the big ass helicopter over top. Hold on, I'm gonna pause for a second.
Hey, real quick. Just got done work and showered, so I look like shit. But if you like these videos and you dig them, please give me a thumbs up and a subscribe. Also, real quick, so this is so apropos for the video I just made. There was a guy yesterday on I Love My Norwegian Heritage. I'm not going to call him out, although I probably should because I think he's a bit of a prick. Basically saying, why are you disrespecting Norway by calling yourselves Norwegians? Case in point. If you believe you're Norwegian, you're freaking Norwegian. Love yourself.
Big old military helicopter. I'd show you, but you probably wouldn't show up on video. Anyway, I guess my point is, be who you are, believe in yourself and who you think you are. I'm going to keep putting content out. Hopefully, I will get more consistent one of these days, one of these years. And put stuff out there that puts a smile on people's faces. That's my main goal. I will talk about controversial stuff, and I've said that my YouTube channel will expand from more than just Norway and Vikings and stuff. I've said it many times, and I still haven't done a real video about Vikings. Oh, that's another thing. You know, Vikings. There's a lot of Norwegian that live in Norway that are very anti-Viking, and I found that there's a big percentage of Norwegians that live in North America that think it's pretty cool. The history, yeah, there was some bad stuff. Of course there was. There is in every part of history, in every part of culture, in every country in the world today. That's just part of humanity. Human nature does not change. But I think it's pretty cool. And I'll get told by a Norwegian living in Norway that, hey, Norwegians hate the Viking stuff. We don't talk about it. That's not true. Don't believe them. Most of my family is still in Norway. I have somewhere around 30 or 40 cousins, you know, first cousins that live in Norway. My mom has 10 siblings. They all live in Norway. In fact, the first one, Tante Estelle, just passed away a few weeks ago. Rest in peace, Tante. A lot of good memories with her when I was a kid. But yeah, 10 siblings. My dad has 4 siblings. They all have kids. I have a lot of family in Norway. And when these people that live in Norway that say they know what they're talking about, say nobody talks about Vikings, it's not true. I know plenty of Norwegians that live in Norway that are into Viking culture and the history of it. You know, I know there's negative stuff there, and I'm not into that. I know there's parts of Viking culture that have been taken over by scumbags, can we call it that? Dirtbag racists. And if that offends you, I don't want you watching anyway. I'm not into that. I have a couple of tattoos where I've had people see them and say, oh, you must be blah, blah, blah. Like, no, I'm not. I'm as far from that as I can be. And don't take my culture and bastardize it like that. So I think it's important we hold on to our history, recognize the negative parts of it, embrace the positive parts of it. Sorry, I'm getting an itch in my throat, so I'm gonna have to end this soon. But Norway is a gorgeous country. I say it all the time. There's a big part of my soul, my heart, my being that is still in Norway. Because it looks like this in a lot of places. These big old mountains behind me, and the mountains, it must be my upbringing coming from Norway. I love the mountains, the sea, the rivers. Just got back from a camping trip with some fantastic friends up in the mountains in Utah, right along the river. Friggin' awesome. Anyway, I think I'll just leave it there. This will be kind of a shortish one, but I'm sorry, my hand's getting shaky. I got carpal tunnel like you wouldn't believe. Pushing paint sprayers with my hands for 40 years will do that. But I will get some more stuff up here more consistently. If you dig this, please give me a thumbs up, give me a subscribe, tell other Norwegians or just everyday people, whoever, whether they're from Russia or South Africa or Chile or Russia, I don't care. I love everybody. Let's get a community going. Leave me your comments, tell me what you think. Woo, that's bright. I'm sorry if this video is a little bit shaky. One of these days I'm going to get some better equipment to do this better. But until then, get out in nature like this. This is, oh, I almost used an F-bomb. I won't in this video. This is freaking awesome. This is good for your heart, good for your soul, good for your being. Love everybody. Peace. Till nästa gång vi snackar igen snart. Och hoppas du har en helt fantastisk uke. Ha det!